Good morning, sir. May we start, sir?
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Yeah, we can start now. How are you,
Okay.
sir? Hope you are
Thank you.
fine.
Thank you. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dear students and dear colleagues, today is a very special day for all of us, as most of you have just got yourself re-registered in your MAPC second year program in July 2024 session. And many of our students who are research oriented and who want to learn how to do a mini research. So they have opted for this project course in their MAPC second year. And some students, because they have got themselves enrolled in this wonderful program, psychology, for the first time in their life, they have never studied psychology during their college life, either in graduation or at 10 plus 2 level. So most of you are studying the psychology subject for the very first time in your master's degree in psychology in IGNOU. And because you are this second year optional course, project course, it is a very beautiful course which is going to impart you the skills in doing research. And the first step of this project course is to prepare a synopsis. And the process almost is similar in all the three specializations, whether it is your clinical psychology or your counseling psychology or your industrial and organizational psychology. This process is similar in all the specializations of psychology. And because many of you are studying psychology for the first time and you are going to do research in psychology for the first time, so I requested our dear colleague, Dr. Ashwini Kumarji, to help us and our students in this regard. So I requested him yesterday to please guide our learners. How can they prepare their synopsis? Although many things are covered already in your handbook on project, but still I felt it highly essential and highly important to get you this exposure with the help of our dear colleague, Dr. Ashwini Kumarji. So I welcome you, sir, Dr. Ashwini Kumar, sir.
Thank
I
you. Thank
welcome you. And especially my thanks goes to you because you are on vacation. But on my request, you immediately agreed to for this important help. This is a very great help, sir. This is a very wonderful sport. And we all are thankful to you that despite being on vacations, you spared your valuable time for us and our learners. And your guidance is going to help our learners a lot because many of our students are anxious how to write synopsis, how can they proceed with their this project work. So your presence and your guidance both are going to give us a great relief today. And I am hopeful that the students are going to learn a lot from your this presentation and your this guidance. And uh, uh, actually, this session is more important because many of our learners, after completing their MAPC program, they would also like to go for PhD in psychology as well. So it is a type of, I can say, it is a type of a foundation session for them. It is going to lay their foundation in the research in field of psychology. So it is a very, very important session. And I request all the students to please pay attention to the guidance being given by Dr. Ashwini Kumarji. And you are going to learn a lot. And after his presentation, after his guidance, after his presentation, if you have any queries, then we will take up your queries after his presentation. So I welcome you, sir, once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I welcome our dear learners also. And I want to tell you that we are always with our students at each and every step. You please don't be anxious, and we are always here to support you. And whatsoever type of guidance you will be requiring from our side, our faculty is very dedicated. Dr. Ashwini Kumarji is present in this session despite being on vacation. And in addition to him, our other faculty members in the discipline of psychology at SOSS IGNOU headquarters, they are also always with us. I have experienced that whenever I have requested our faculty in the discipline of psychology for any help, they are always with us. They are always present. And at very short notices also, they have spared their valuable time for us and our dear students. So, dear students, please feel relaxed. We are going to help you and we are going to guide you at each and every step. And now, I once again, after thanking Dr. Ashwini Kumarji once again for his valuable time, now I am handing over this platform to him, and I request him to please help our students, guide them. How can they effectively and successfully prepare their synopsis? What important points they have to take care in their mind? And sir, we are having students from all three specializations today in this session.
Okay, sir.
Many of them are having clinical psychology, many of them are having counseling, and some students from industrial and organizational psychology also. 016, 026, and 036 specialization of their this second year MAPC project course. So, sir, I thank you once again and I welcome you. And now I am handing over this platform to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity and inviting me for such interactions. Basically, this is a great opportunity for me as well to interact with the scholars or the learners who are pursuing MAPC program, and they are now entering into the in-depth part of the study of the program, which is related with the research. So it is really indeed a great pleasure for me to interact with the scholars as well as to orient to give my own experience and knowledge how we can pursue the research, especially when we have no such kind of background and we have just studied all the theoretical part, but at the same time this theoretical part is not enough to contribute something for the discipline. So in this session, or basically in this discussion, I would like to introduce you to orient you how to conduct research, especially in terms of the particular course MPCE 16, 26, and 36. Before going to discuss about the synopsis part, what synopsis is all about, how we prepare the synopsis, let me give you some orientation about the research. Although you have studied up MPC 05 and 06, in which you have covered almost all things like research methodology part as well as a statistical part. These are the two parts which are the core of your research orientation. So because whenever we do something and without knowing the purpose of doing something, that does not make any sense. So first of all, we should know the purpose, why we are conducting research and why we should involve ourselves. Although it's a part of curriculum, you are somehow bound to perform, but you might go through, you should have taken MPC 46, that you had opportunity to take some other theoretical paper, but you have opted this research uh, component, which indicates that you have orientation, you have interest on research. And definitely this time, or we can see the NEP 2020, that the NEP 2020 suggests that how research should be conducted and how research is important for the any curriculum. Right, so let's discuss first about the research. As we know that any discipline cannot be when cannot grow in a positive direction if the research is not carried out in a particular discipline. So when we talk about academician or academics, there are two basic purpose of the academics. Is first is creation of knowledge and the second is dissemination of knowledge. So dissemination is simple. When we go and deliver the lecture, I am sharing some my ideas with you. That is dissemination, or maybe with the written material and others. But in the discipline, if you are not creating knowledge, that would not make any sense, or the discipline would not grow in the positive direction. So creation of knowledge can only be possible if you are conducting research, and if you are not conducting research, that the discipline would not grow. So you are the a stakeholder who can contribute towards your discipline, and at the same time you are growing yourself in terms of as a researcher, at, and as an academician. So it's not a matter of your own growth, but it's a matter of the growth of the discipline. How you are an essential part of your discipline, you can realize when you will be involved yourself in the research process. So research, as I told you, that the part through which we create the knowledge. And once when we encounter with the term research, that may create a kind of confusion or a kind of worriness within you, that at this stage we are studying master, how we can go for the research work. And these things usually comes in our mind. When I was doing my master, the same thing came into my mind, that at this stage we are not comfortable enough to go with the research work. But why the curriculum introduced this research component at the same time? Because as I told you that at the beginning, that the research is, it's not always a kind of things that we think like some novel contribution. Research is not always like, when we say research, the two or three things comes in our mind. One is like scientist, we are going to do something like Newton, like Einstein. Definitely these are also research, but always the research is nothing that we can say so novel contribution. Something that we have studied can also be verified. It should be verified, if because the theories and the approaches which has been developed maybe way back in 1990, or maybe 20 year back, how it is relevance in contemporary time, that should be also verified. If it is not contemporary relevance, then it must be modified. So whatever the things you have studied, that has, this is the time, or this is the opportunity that you have to check those things in your research work. Before going into the major jargons of the research, let me give you a brief about what research is all about. Like as I told you, that what are the significance of research. Research significance is you have opportunity to create knowledge and to verify knowledge at the same time, so that you can say like, whatever I have studied, really I can see in the population, I can see in the human being. Whatever you have studied in terms of social psychology, in terms of general psychology, or any discipline, any branch of psychology, that you can see in the population, you can see in the human being, whether it is there or not. And if it is not there, how much it is deviant, how much differences is there. So as far as research is concerned, there are might be the different definition. I'm not going into definition part, but I'm just simplifying you what research is all about. So sometimes we say research is all about some kind of misconception is there, like research is all about a result, how effective result is coming. Like when we read newspaper all the day, we see like when we eat tomato, there's a chances of cancer get reduced. Sometimes we study something else, but it is not research is not all about the findings. Research is all about the process. So sometimes we say research is a process of scientific investigation. So when we say it's a process, means you have to follow certain steps, and scientific investigation means there is a fixed step that you are bound to follow. So sometimes we say research is an art of scientific investigation. So when we say art, then there's a term which we, your ability, your uh, what we say, your aptitude would also comes in this picture. So research is something which is called, research is a process that you need to follow. And as I told you just before, like sometimes we relate research with findings. Research is not always related with the findings, although the findings is the outcome of research, you can say. But it would not be identified, or research cannot be judge or evaluate in terms of their findings. Research can be evaluated by three terms that you need to know whenever you encounter with the research findings or research article, that what sort of things you should identify whether the research is relevant or not. There are three key elements that I would like to share with you that you should keep in mind, because these things you are going to use during your preparation of synopsis, right? So these three things are like, the research is whether it is logical or empirical or replicable. There are three key terms: it is logical or replicable, or that definitely empirical. Empirical does not means always have a data. Empirical means how much your research is supported with the data, supported with the findings, supported with the facts. That would make sense, like whether research is effective or not. Logical means you will have a variety of opportunity whenever you select topic, you select your design, you select your hypothesis, you will have to choose any one of them. So the selection of the any method, design, technique, hypothesis, or the sampling, then you should be logical enough. And the replicable part is like this, that whatever the research you have done, that can be tested further by other researcher, that can be replicate by the other researcher, or it can be tested further in the same way if you have done research in the certain things. So the three things that you need to know, whether the research is logical enough, your empirical evidences is there, or it is capable to conduct research, like somebody can repeat the same research or not. These are three indicators through which you can identify that the research is good or not good, or we can say perfect or not. Right. So before going into the synopsis part, let me tell you that research, as I told you, it's a process. Then, when research is not about the findings, it's process. So when we say process, then you have to follow the steps one by one. And once you follow the steps perfectly, then whatever the outcomes will come, it hardly matter. So what actually happens in the this stage when you are doing masters, or maybe you have might have a certain orientation of research, we generally think that the findings should be very attractive or very catchy. The finding hardly matters in research, the process matters. So process matters means how effectively you follow the steps. This is the integral part of research. So just forget about the findings, whether it is coming as per your expectation or not, whether it is coming as per the hypothesis or not. It's hardly matter. Result hardly matters in your research. The process matters, and you will encounter these things whenever you interact during your viva voce of this particular courses, that the examiner would ask more maximum question with the process part. They would hardly ask the questions with the findings is one of the outcomes that comes, that is not in under your control. This is something that happens, that we do not have, researcher do not have control over the findings. Researcher have control over the procedure. So procedure is very important. I am very thankful to Ashok sir for organizing this orientation program, that it basically gives you a kind of orientation where how do we follow the process, and this process are really integral part of the research. Rest of the things are not the things that you need to worry. So when we say process, definitely research is something that start with your ideas, what you carry ideas in your mind, then you go for the further stage and you propose your synopsis. Then the after proposing your synopsis, you will go for the data collection and all. Then you write your work, whatever the data is collected, you analyze your data, then you report your data. And these things we generally do in our research, typical research process. So the very first process is definitely the synopsis preparation. Synopsis preparation is nothing but it's the document through which you propose your ideas, you propose your topic, you propose your research questions, or so that it can be further carried out. So when you propose your topic, when you formulate your synopsis, there are certain things you have to keep in your mind that I'm going to introduce you, orient you at the right this moment, that every stage you have to use your own understanding, your deepness of knowledge, your study of knowledge, and whatever you have studied in MPC 5, which is related with the research method and statistics, MPC 6, that you have to use here in project called MPCE 16, 26 or 36 or 16, 26 and 36. So these are the specialization. As I told you, the 16 is clinical, 26 is counseling, and 36 is industrial and organizational psychology. But the process will remain same. Process will remain same, but the topic would be different. And why the topic would be different? Because there is a different specialization. And this specialization is nothing but we are targeting different population. When we most of the time, what I have encountered whenever I interact with the learner, they get confused with the, although they have selected one of the specialization like clinical and counseling, but they get confused whether what is the difference between these two, why the clinical and counseling are, and this confusion reflect in their research work as well. So if you have opted 16, then you must select your topic related with the clinical psychology. And if you are selected your you have taken elective like 26, then the topic should be related with the counseling psychology, and definitely similarly in 36 industrial and organizational psychology. So first you have to select the topic in such a way so that you can pursue your research in a very effective manner. So selection of topic again is the essential part, is the beginning part of your research work, or during at the time of making your synopsis. But the selection of topics should not be random, it should be related with your specialization. As I told you that most of the time learner get confused that my topic is clinical or counseling, they would not be able to justify. The reason is they don't have the clear understanding about these two disciplines, although they interchangeably use or some part they overlap with each other, therefore there is a confusion. So let me give you a brief introduction about what 16, 26 and 36 is all about. Accordingly you can select your topic. Like in clinical and counseling and the industrial, this is all the things that we studied in terms of the different context. Like psychology is all about the study of behavior and cognitive process, definitely the scientific studies of behavior and cognitive process. But the behavior and cognitive process of whom? Of course the human being. Definitely there's a different branch of psychology which deal with the animal behavior as well, but here we are dealing with the human behavior. So wherever the human is situated, that their behavior can be studied. Like if human being is there in the social context, the social psychology comes into the picture. When the human being is sitting in the clinical setting, then clinical psychology. If the person is living in the daily life and they are stuck in somewhere in their life, or they are not able to deal with the daily stressors, or maybe the students who are just in growth age, they might be encounter some challenges in their transition phase of their life. They might create kind of stressors, they might experience certain stressors that can also be addressed. So the another population is the school going students. The one population is the clinical, those who have admitted in the mental health hospital, and some who are working in industry and any organization as HR, as employee, as employer. So all of them are human being, but the context is different. And because of we know that the human is always being influenced by their context, their context always influence human beings. So the context should be taken into consideration in an effective manner to study, to understand the human behavior effectively. So in depth study of human behavior, first we need to understand the context. So once you decide your context, your specialization would decide it. So suppose for example, if you are dealing with the clinical psychology, your context would be the person who is there in a clinical setup, like in mental health hospital, those who are visiting, those who are going through the any chronic mental disorders, like schizophrenia, paranoid, means any things like delusion, hallucinations are going on, and maybe major depression is there, some phobia is there, some clinical diagnosed mental disorder is there, then and their treatment is going on, these kind of population comes under the clinical psychology population. And if you want to pursue your research and you have already selected your specialization, you have to target this population in your research. Similarly, the another context is the person, the students who are going into school, those who are just entering into the college life, plus those who have completed plus two, they are in the phase of adolescence, teenage, and they have a lots of physiological changes at the same time that impact their psychological changes, and they are stuck in their life, they have they encounter with the different stressors of definitely their academic stress, their family stress, and career opportunities stress. There are various things they encounter, and at the same time they need certain kind of counseling. So this transition phase is very crucial. Somebody are stuck in their life where the person is not able to cope up with the stress, what should be the coping strategies, and how we can deal with the daily demands of the stress. So all these things are the things that deals with not a chronic disease kind of a chronic disorders kind of things, but the common population who have certain kind of issues in, especially for their growth of mental health, or for the uplifting of their mental well-being. They need certain kind of counseling. The setting where, let me tell you, like the college students, the family members, maybe the school students, or maybe those who are working somewhere in nearby the family, they would be the context of the clinical counseling psychology. So counseling psychology deals with not the chronic disorders, they deals with the stressors, the coping strategies, the decision making problems which we encounter in day to day life. But some can be managed effectively, some cannot be managed effectively, so they require certain kind of counselings. Those who are taking counseling, those who need counseling, they would be the part of your population, they would be the part of your context. So the clinical is a clinical specialization would think in the clinical setting population. Counselor Counseling psychology would deal with this kind of population who are in school, who are in colleges, who have maybe the family members who merit counseling in any field where the person is basically going through the some stresses. They would not be categorized into as a mental disorders, but because of the daily demand they would not be able to deal with the situation, so they need a certain kind of counseling. And once they need the counseling, then that population would comes under your counseling psychology specialization. Similarly, you know that one who is running the organization, let's say any industry, any organization who are manufacturing organization, maybe service providing organization, like educational setting, like university and colleges are the service providing organization. Similarly, you can see the medical institutes, or maybe the hospitals are service providing organization. Whereas certain organization, you will see that industry where manufacturing the different articles, objects, product, they are the different kind of organization. So organization is a big kind of structure where the good number of people works together, live together, work together, and to deal with the single object, like let's say for manufacturing the certain product. So those who are having sharing a goal, and those who are living in the same context, how they impact each other, how the how they relate, how they manage the things effectively, like there are role of HR managers, their role of leaders in HR managers, their role of CEO, the role of employee in contribution to the organizational effectiveness. All these the industry, the person who are involved in all these things would be the part of the industrial and organizational psychology population. Like let's say example of stress. Stress is common for all human beings, so those who have encountered stress because of the job, that they would be a job kind of job stress, and that would comes under the organizational and industrial and organizational psychology specialization. If this stress is acute, and the or maybe the stressor, the person who's not be able to cope up with the situation, but he or she is not doing job in any organization, he is the person who's living with their family member, maybe he is going to schools or somewhere in the colleges, and because of the demand of the career, he or she may encounter with the stressor, and they need certain kind of counseling, that this portion would comes under the population of counseling psychology. Similarly, if this stress is acute in nature, that converted into anxiety, or maybe sometime stresses is the basic background of any symptoms, it turns into the depressive symptoms and maybe required some psychotherapy, then the same population would comes under the clinical psychology population. So you see that how the stress is all in all the across these three specialization, but the nature is different. The person who is encountering with this stressor, their intensity and intent are different, so therefore their population would be different to a person. So by this you can understand that what kind of context you have to keep in mind according to your specialization. So first you decide in which context you have to carry your research as per your specialization. So don't interchange, like you can't take OB topic in your clinical setting. Definitely you can take if the one person who is going through the acute mental disorder, living in certain organization, doing job in organization, but at the same time he or she is taking psychotherapy in some mental hospitals, or maybe some psychiatrist or maybe psychologist, then they would be the part of the clinical psychology population. At the same time, the certain stresses like job stress, job satisfactions, and organizational citizenship behavior, there are numerous of variables. Like leadership skill is very important. Whenever you work in organization, you are in a certain position where you deal with the person, or you are some thousand or hundreds of the employees working under you. You have to influence them, you have to guide them, how much leadership qualities should be there. So all these things, your emotional intelligence can also be the part of the counseling as well as the organizational. So these things you have to keep in mind before you involve yourself, or you are diving your in the research of your specialization. The first, you must have understand that your context, your population, your samples should be selected where you are going to conduct research. Now suppose you have decided that your specialization is clinical, your specialization is counseling or industrial and organizational psychology. Now the another things that you have to do first, before selecting the topic, you have to think that what sort of researches is going on, and how you will decide that researches is going on, how, because the it's a wide area. Means when we say clinical, and a good number of you see that DSM-5, it's a thousand of disorders has been mentioned over there. And how you are going to select any one of them? So first, your knowledge on that particular area. Second, your interest. And the third important thing is feasibility. How much feasible and how much opportunity you have to interact with those population. Ultimately at the end of the research, you have to interact with your sample. If you don't have opportunity to interact with the sample, you don't have opportunity, feasibility is there to access the particular sample, then don't select those samples. Not for the for the sake of making your research very effective, you have elected the topic and later on you have manipulated, fabricated. These things are not in ethical in consideration. So you have to keep at the same time that whatever the research, don't make your research a very big topic, but try to be very genuine. Genuine in the sense, once you go through the research process, you will encounter various things, you will learn how to conduct research. The purpose of this MAPC program to come up with the dissertation is not to contribute significantly in the field of to do something which is very novel in the field of psychology, but to know how to conduct research, to know how to carry out research. And this will help you in further study if you want to do a phd in your specialization, or you want to do certain job in any organization or any industry. You will be able to work with the organization in a very scientific manner, how we conduct research. And suppose you have to submit the proposal, you have an idea that you want to introduce in your organization, but what sort of things you should keep in mind? Do you have the empirical evidences? How you have gone through the observation of your population? That would makes a significant impact in your proposal. So all these things will help you in order to shape your future career. So here, this is the great time for you to indulge yourself in the research and understand the process part, rather to go into the very what we say effective topic and result part. You must learn what are the steps is there. So try to be genuine. First and important thing is the you must be genuine in the sense, whatever you are doing, do it effectively, do it genuinely. Don't make any kind of fabrication, falsification. Means don't report anything which has not been observed in your study. As I told you earlier, and I'm keep repeating the same thing, that the research is not all about the result. If you, as a scholar, as a experiment, as examiner, whenever I encounter, I hardly visit the result part. If you have followed the process, whatever the result would come, I will accept it. If you have not followed the uh, effective research steps, then whatever the result would come, it hardly any make significance contribution, or it makes any sense. If you have not followed the steps, then if the result is coming very novel, then it does not make any sense. So you will also experience these kind of things whenever you study, you go through the literature review, you see the different researches. You will encounter that these kind of researches has no newness, or there's nothing new in this research. I can see, I can do it also. You will see how this research has been published in the reputed journal. You will encounter these kind of things in your life, because you have placed the idea, you have a notion like research is something which comes with the novel result. Research is nothing but the result, but it is a process. So if you have followed the process, you will be able to publish your things in a great journal as well at the same time. So as I told you, that the first thing, you decide your area genuinely. And once you decide your area, whatever the guidelines is given in the handbook, that you have to select the guide. And guide has certain qualification. There are three categories: one is the academic counselor, second is the panel what we say guide for MAPC, and third one is the expert, who are, you can opt, you can approve those guide, you can take those guide from the headquarter, or any approval you can take, prior approval before selecting your guide, in which the certain qualification is required, like the person should have some teaching experience, MA in the psychology, or the PhD MPhil in psychology with certain teaching experience. That has been mentioned, is clearly mentioned in the handbook. You can go through it and you can follow the process. So once you decided the what we say area, so try to be specific. Don't take topic here and there from anywhere. You have to be stick with your area. Once you decide your area, you have decided your population, try to fix up in the certain variables. What variables is all about? Like anything that you are going to observe, that would be the part of your variable. Like, as I continuously talking about the stress, depression, anxiety, all these are the variable, that very person to person, that very moment to moment, that very anything, like your age is also one of the variable, your weight is also one of the variable, that vary. And because of the variness or the variation of their magnitude, you try to catch those variable in a certain way so that you can predict for the future. So right now, like BMI is a very popular thing. Body mass index is something through which we predict whether the person is a fatty or not fatty, how much fat is there, and everything. How it happens? Because of the certain statistical method has been used, and by using putting your data, you can get the information like what would be the specific goal you should have to achieve for the fitness of your health. So similarly, your psychological observation is something like that, that you have to first select your variable should be selected as per your specialization, as I have already given you examples. So first you select your variables, and then you try to go with the literature review. The second part, I'm not saying you to write your synopsis at this moment. First you have to work lots before you're making before you're preparing of your synopsis. Preparation of synopsis is come basically comes later. First you have to decide your topic. So in order to decide your topic, first you have to decide your target population in the sense where each unit comes in your researches. Like I have decided my population like depressing patients, depressed person, individual, those who are going through the acute depression. So the person, those who are going through the acute depression would be part of my research. And this person would be like, let's say another example, like postnatal depression. The women, when she delivered the baby, the kind of depression they experience, which is called postnatal depression, which is very common in every year. So every women, once they delivered the baby, immediately they experience postnatal depression because of the hormonal changes that take place. So once I decided that my variable would be postnatal depression, then the women who have just delivered the baby would be part of my population. But you know that this the number of the this kind of women would be entirely very large, and I would not be in position to take cognizance of all these samples. So now this is the time where you have to, first you have decided the variable, the second you have to decide your population. So population would be very large, means each individuals, those who have coming going through the postnatal depression would be your population. Now you have to decide whether your sample would be which kind of sample, from where you are going to select your sample. And the sample selection is another part which you need to study. So before selection of sample would be the further stage. First you have decide to variable. So the variable should be at least two in your research. In your proposal, what I have observed very frequently, that the learner takes one variable at a time, and they try to study continuously. Definitely it can be done. The research is not always that you should take two variable, but the two variable, it does not means the two variable is taking, one is continuous and another is non-continuous. So you should have two continuous variable. Continuous variable means there are two kind of variable you have must studied in your research methods part. Like variable, as I told you, that vary, that the magnitude vary with the passage of time, but the same time that can be continuous in nature, not in discrete in nature. So you have to select in your research work at least two continuous variable. What continuous variable? What discrete variable? Like gender is discrete variable. Either you will be male or female or maybe other. So this is discrete. There is no continuity, there is no continuum in between, right? So the population, this is the discrete variable. Whereas the continuous variable means that continuum in nature, like the level of depression, level of anxiety, level of job satisfaction, level of life satisfaction, level of emotional intelligences. All these variables are continuous in nature. So you have to just write down or just keep in mind that you should have at least two continuous variable in your topic. Otherwise your topic would not be selected. That the synopsis may get rejected because the continuous variable is not there. So at least two continuous variable in your research. So first decide your population context as per your specialization. Then all things would done in line with your specialization, not outside the specialization. Once you decided your target population, then decide two, at least two variable, two continuous variable at the same time. Then after deciding the two continuous variable, like suppose emotional intelligence and and the the relationship with employee, or relationship efficiency on relationship management, or the relationship efficacy, all these things can be taken into consideration as a two variable. So, or maybe in emotional intelligences and mental health, there are two variable. I can give you example. These two variable should be considered in the I'm just giving you example. You can take any two continuous variable. So it does not means you can randomly or randomly select any two continuous variable. These two continuous variables should be interrelated with each other. Not in, if they are not interrelated, then there's no sense. You do not doing a research for the sake of doing things, like you have just gathered the things. You, and how you can decide whether these two variables, any two variable, are interrelated with each other or not? You have to decide these things with the help of literature review. Just decide one, any one continuous variable. Like I am interested in emotional intelligence, I am interested in depression, so I'm just thinking about the depression only. The second continuous variable would appear in the literature review, or it will come when you go through the different research article. So now the time is to use these keywords like depression or postnatal depression in women, in the context of maybe Delhi. So now put this key variable in Google or any search engine, and you will find a good number of researches. Google Scholar में डालिए, and you will get a good number of suggested researches, and you will see that how this variable is related with the other continuous variable. And by this you can select the another topic of another variable in your field, that how postnatal depression is related with the growth of baby, or maybe the mental health of the or maybe other things. So you can relate these things with each other. The second variable you can easily select with the continuous variable you immediately find with the help of literature review. This literature review will also help you to work significantly to form your hypothesis in later on. So keep this literature. At least I must suggest you to, for each variable, if you have taken two continuous variable, then at least 10 to 15 researches should be there. So, and these 10 to 15 researchers should not be very old. Maybe some researchers are pioneer of any variable. Maybe classical researches is there. You can't ignore them, but try to be specific in last 10 year, maximum last 10 year, because whatever the researches has been carried out when 50 year ago would not be relevant today. So, and it would not help you to make your research significant. Ultimately you have to defend your research with the in front of the examiner. So the purpose is clear, that first select your variable, continuous variable you have selected. Try to keep at least 10 year, last 10 year literature review. Literature review means the past researches that has been carried out with the same variable. Maybe the population would be different. Some are carried out in India, some are carried out in outside India, maybe Delhi, maybe out southern part of the India, maybe the, but the variable is same. The variable in the sense continuous variable are same. So you can keep those researches in your study. 10, as I told you, that you have to mention at least 10 variable 10 researches in for each variable. So just for your very what we say, very specific guideline, you can opt each one research article in for each year, like last 10 year, like 2014 to 2024. You just select for each year one article. And how you will select the one article from, maybe suppose you have entered I have to take article from 2014. So you will having a kind of thousand article at the same time. How you would decide which article I should take in my study? Again, the idea is like this: those article which has cited more than 10 times, 20 times. The citation means, again, citation means somebody has mentioned your researches in their research. Means I am doing research at the in the year of 2024, and I am citing, I am giving reference to the previous done researches, then I am citing those researches in my study. So if the person is cited most maximum time, means the research has more significance. The citation indicates that the research is really significant in particular time, therefore the people are citing, using, giving references of those article or researches many times. So those who have more citation would be more effective for your research. So as I told you, just go with the one paper for each year, and in every year select those research article which has more citation, and try to read out those articles effectively. And what are the things you have to read? Of course, if you have enough time, go through the article. It will take 2 to 3 days to go through the one article. So it's a continuous process that you have to go through. You have a limited time, then try to be focused on their method part, introduction part, and result part especially. Abstract has something which can give you a glimpse whether this research topic is effective or relevant for your research work or not. If it is not relevant, just ignore them. Whatever the relevant paper that are how you decide that your paper is, other researches are relevant or not, on in terms of your continuous variable. So whatever the variable you have selected, if they are using the same variable, they have studied in the same variable, that would be the part of your research article. So just collect at least 10 to 15 article for one variable. Similarly, for another variable, 10 to 15, maximum 20 to 25 article you have to gather, selected, or download it, or just keep it with you. That researches would help you to further make your synopsis. Now you have to decide your topic. So in the topic, basically you do not have to write each and everything in the title. So first start with the title, which you need. There's a format that which has been mentioned in the project handbook. I am just giving you one important thing, that what are the things you have to mention. So first select your title. When you select your title, you form your title, try to be a specific, not try to be very general. Like in the standard practice, what we follow, what are the number of characters should be there in the title, how many words I can use in the title. We generally follow APA guidelines. So APA is American Psychological Association. They always keep updating what should be the standard practice. Why APA is important for us? Again, this kind of questions comes in our mind: why should I follow APA? The thing is that whatever you are writing, that should be communicable in nature. And you know that your way of writing, way of understanding might be different from the other who are living in US, UK, and Russia, and other countries. So there should be some uniformity across the globe, so that everyone can understand what you are trying to say, what you are trying to propose. At the same time, what you are trying to say in terms of writing your research. So there is a standard practice that you should follow. So what guideline we follow? APA guideline. So APA guideline 7th edition we follow. So I'm just giving you major things that you need to follow. So how many words maximum should be there? Maximum 80 characters should be there in your title, not more than this. APA gives you a guideline, 7th edition. You will find in PDF in your anywhere in the Google, and you will get all the information. So title should not be very lengthy. It should be very precise. Precise in the sense, in the title, three things should come. One, your two continuous variable that you have taken into consideration in your research, and third, the population. So you have to make your title in such a way that the relation between these two variables should appear, at the same time on what population you are going to study. Like you want to study the relation between emotional intelligence and mental health. Among whom? Among maybe population like adolescents. So you don't write adolescents of Delhi, adolescents of somewhere, just need not to mention the place in the title. It can be appear in the sample section later on. So in the title, what you have to do, you have to make a relationship between the two continuous variable, and the third one you have to mention the context or the population. So as I told you, the relationship between mental health and the emotional intelligence among the adolescents, the study of relationship, or maybe you can say comparison. If you are comparing from gender, then you can take study from the gender. I will give you some title as well so that you can understand.
Dear learners, I think that there is some internet issue at the end of Dr. Ashwini Kumar. You please wait for a few minutes. He will rejoin, please.
Sir, is it
Please wait.
possible to say the sir to start with the topic title, because we can't hear the correct matters through the disconnection of the internet.
Yes. Actually, for writing the synopsis, we will be following the style or format given in the handbook only. He is just mainly focusing on what are the major precautionary points you should take care of when you will be working on your synopsis.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, please. Please. One learner has asked uh, whether the same process is followed for PhD. Yes, yes. For the most part of it, the process is same. There is no much big difference between doing a research project for MA psychology or for PhD. But a few differences are there, that then your sample size becomes bigger. If you have attended the earlier session which we organized a few days ago, in that session, the school faculty, they clearly mentioned it, that for doing this MA psychology project, as Dr. Ashwini Kumar has also emphasized this point, that our main focus in this project is to learn process. He very rightly pointed it out that we are not much interested in what are your findings, what do you find at the end of it. Rather, we are not interested in the end product. Rather, we are interested in the process part of it. Sir has joined back. Yes, sir, please.
Am I audible? There's some
Yes,
network
sir, you are
issue from
audible, sir.
my side. Okay, I'm really sorry. There is some network from my side.
Yes, sir, we got it, sir. We got it. Yes.
So now, what we were discussing about the title. So title should not be very lengthy. It should be very specific, very very specific in the sense you have to mention the variable in the title, then its relationship with each other, and the samples, that the population that you are targeting. As I told you, if I am studying about the emotional intelligence at the same time with their mental health, relation with mental health, then their relationship, this should be appear in the title. And at the same time I'm talking about the adolescents, so adolescents should also be coming to the picture. So after literature review, once you decided about the title, you have mentioned the title, and definitely you have to take consideration opinion of your guide that you have selected. The guide, these are, so see, the research is nothing a single kind of work. It's a collaborative work. So collaboration is always there. So it's not your own only contribution in your research. Always we say it's a collaboration work. So collaborative ideas should be there, and this thing should be discussed with the supervisor effectively, the guide that you have selected, and discuss these things, especially in terms of the selection of topic, what topics should be selected. The second thing that you need to understand here, that whatever the variable you have selected, again you have to observe this variable among the population. So observation tools, the assessment tools should be there. The access of these assessment tools should be there with you. So wherever you are doing your research work, the first try to identify whether you have accessibility of the questionnaire of the particular variable or not. You can get help from the other persons as well, other the study centers. The your guide can also provide certain tools, or some are very common in nature that you can find in Google as well. Some are open access in nature that you can directly access, you can download it, and open educational resources are also there that you can use for your research purposes, right? So first, that you have to now this is the time where you have conceived a kind of topic in your mind. Now this topic has to be proposed in front of the examiner. The proposal, the synopsis is nothing but a proposal that you have to submit about your research that you are interested in. So the making your proposal should be as much as essential as similar to the conducting of research. So conduction of research is the second part. The first thing is that the proposal. Once your proposal gets selected or approved, then you can further go for the study in depth. So in order to make the synopsis, the title has been covered. Now you have to write the introduction part. So introduction is nothing but it's like an introduction. Like you have to introduce the variable. Maybe you are very familiar with your variable, whatever the variable you have selected, like emotional intelligence, like life satisfaction. That it cannot always be understandable with other person, those who are evaluating, those who are examining, those who are studying your proposal. So first things that you have to write about the introduction part, in which you have to introduce your variable in the sense you have to uh, discuss, you have to introduce what variable is all about. As I told you just before, like postnatal depression. क्या है postnatal depression, क्या होता है, किस तरह से इसको हम समझते हैं, what are the symptoms when the person experience this, what are the population, what are the frequency, what are the intensity, what researches is talks about. So you have to introduce the variable. Like in movies, what happens, research is like sometime like a movie. So when you see the movies, what happens, first the characters are introduced. So you will see that there are five characters, important characters are there. They introduce at the beginning of the movie. Similarly, in your research, you have to introduce your research variable at the beginning. And this introduction of your variable comes under the introduction part. So the introduction part is nothing but you have to explain your variable in such a way. As I told you, just like for example, one variable I have taken in. Suppose I have taken one variable like life satisfaction. So life satisfaction can be explained differently by the different researcher. Someone can say I am very satisfied in my life because I am monetary very well, or maybe I have very good wealth. But what about the health? What about the other things? Maybe my satisfaction depends upon only the monetary things, but some can not have the same things. If they have a very limited money, but still they are happy. So what parameter you are taking, what it can be explained in a variety of way, it can be explained in a very various way. So all the definitions are correct. Only one thing you have to do, whatever the definitions you have taken into your considerations should be introduced into the introduction. And the similar the definition you have to write in the operational definition part as well in the later on. So there should be coherence. You are defining the variable as an operational definition differently, you are introducing differently, then it does not make any sense. So whatever the things you have taken into consideration at the beginning should keep in continuous continuity in entire researches. So whenever the examiner asks you question during the viva, no, as far as my opinion is concerned, the life satisfaction should be defined in terms of how much you have a monetary wealth. So you will see, yes, you are right, but at the same time I have taken into consideration the life satisfaction differently, where the how much the person is accessible with the environment, their family, their career, I have taken 5 domain of the life of the individual, and accordingly I decide whether it is considering the life satisfaction or not. So by this, you have to first introduce your variable in introduction section. So how many variables you have studied in, you have in your study? Like in my example, like emotional intelligence, mental health, and the adolescents, there are 3 variables. 2 are continuous in nature, 1 is discrete in nature. So categorical variable, like adolescents are categorical variable, adults are categorical variable. So you have to introduce all these 3 variables in your introduction part. Now second step comes, which is called review of literature. Review of literature means you have to review the studies, whatever the studies that have been already carried out. And what things you have to write in this section? In this section, you have to write the relationship between these 3 variables that you have introduced in your introduction part. कैसे एक दूसरे से रिलेटेड है, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस कैसे मेंटल हेल्थ से रिलेटेड है, और इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है एडोलसेंट्स के लिए. So in the transition is basically the hormonal changes are taking place. Their mental fluctuativity would be there. Their what we say, any affection can be created without having any background. So these things naturally happens. So emotional intelligence is very important in this crucial part. I'm just giving you an example. It may be the certain logic, like you have to select your career at this stage, and if you are not emotional intelligence, you don't know about your you especially, then you would make a blunder choice in your life that you will have to suffer entire life. So the emotional intelligence, your intelligence, normal intelligence, general intelligence has significant role in this particular age group. So these things you have to write in the review of literature. So in introduction, you have to write about the you have to write the you have to introduce the variable. In the review of literature, you have to establish the relationship between these variable with the help of past researches. The relationship you do not form on your own. These relationships should be appear in the previous researches. One such as saying that there's a strong relationship, you can mention about there. There's someone is saying there's no relationship, you also can mention over there. There's another researcher is saying there's a relationship but not that much strong, you can also mention. There's a relationship, this variable in a particular context, that you can also mention. It does not mean that you are proposing like there should be a strong relation that only be mentioned. You can mention either opposite research, in favor research, inline research, not inline research, everything, but the variable would be your boundaries that you have to mention. So the relationship you have to mention in the review of literature part, and this review of literature part will also give you a glance about whatever the things you have taken into consideration as a variable has also studied previously. And at the end of the review of literature, it should be written in one paragraph that whatever the observation is there in the last 10 years should be reflected in one paragraph. Whether the relationship is strong, the effect of one on another is there, or there's no coherence. If there is uniformity, you can also mention. If there's no uniformity, you can also mention. So these things will give you a picture of your research work. So ultimately, you will be in position to find out the research gap. You will see that some are saying a strong association, some are saying less association, some are saying no relationship among these 2 variables. Then you can say there's no uniformity among these variables across the researches. So there is a need to reinvestigate in our population among the adolescents, especially in Indian context. That gives a research gap for you to see, to verify if there's no if all the researches are uniform in nature, still there's opportunity you have that you can go and revisit the same things. Now the third things that we write, although after literature review we write hypothesis, but in the structure that has been given to you, there's a different procedures that you have to follow. Some researches you will find that after literature review they propose the hypothesis. Ideally it should be proposed, but there's no issue in writing in this pattern that has been mentioned in handbook as well. So next you have to write the rationale of the study. So first introduction, then review of literature, then rationale of the study. Rationale of a study in the sense why you are conducting the research, what are the significance of doing research. That should be written with the help of previous citation, previous research findings, previous logic. Means you must be logical. As I told you in the beginning, that how do we decide the research is good or bad? Based on three things: whether it is logical, whether it is empirical or applicable. If it is logical, means you have to logically give the rationale, like why the research is the research should be done, and why this research is relevant in contemporary time, that you should mention in the rationale of the study. After writing this, and this should not be very lengthy, it should be very precise in 1 page maximum. Similarly, for introduction, it can be 2 to 3 pages. For for methodology, sorry, for review of literature, again precisely you have to mention 20 researches. That takes maximum 2 to 3 pages. That would be enough. For synopsis purposes, later on it will be maximized in the writing of dissertation, but in synopsis, introduction and literature review should comes under the maximum 4 to 5 to 6 pages, not more than that, because you have to explain it very precisely, very effectively, to the point, rather to explain here and there and the things. Now the third section that comes, which is called methodology part. In the methodology part, definitely you write about the problem of your research, objective of your research. Problem of research means the questions that you have created, and the objective means what you have to achieve. To see the relationship, to observe the relationship, to access the relationship, these kind of things can be the objective of your study. And when you form the objective, at the same time, next, that you have to write about the operational definition. Sometimes people get confused that what would be the operational definition. Operational definition means the definition that you have taken for your observation in your study. That the one variable can be defined differently in the different researches. What parameter you have taken into consideration, how do you decide that what operational definition would be effective? This operational definition you can find in the tools that you have taken for your study. Like, in order to observe the mental health, whatever the accessibility you have been even there, you just see that how they have defined the mental health in their questionnaire. So because of these definition, you can keep as a operational definition of your study, because these things you have taken into consideration as the observation of your variable. So don't make very operational definition by copying anywhere definition which has been given, but the operational definition you have to take from the definition which is given in the questionnaire that you are using. Maybe somebody using different questionnaire, Jagdish Devmohan, a questionnaire for mental health, somebody using someone else, they would be define this variable differently. So whatever the questionnaire you have using, so and which way they have defined the variable, you have to write as it is in your operational definition without any changes. So operational definition you can take from there only, irrespective of the fact maybe you are not aware about those definitions, but you are using those variable as an observation, and you are using those tools for your observation, then you are bound to use those operational definition for your study. Then the terms comes in the methodology part, which is called, so operationally define your three variables: two continuous variable, one discrete variable. If you are taking adolescents, then there is another definition. WHO has given different uh, uh, different level of adolescents: early adolescents, late adolescents, later adolescents. So you have to define what age group you are taking. So this should be also defined clearly in your operational definition. Then the sample part, as I told you, as mentioned, like postnatal depression would be a big kind of things, population, but you have to select particular, like you can't reach each unit of entire population. Maybe if you have enough resources, but still there's an opportunity, there's a chances that someone can refuse, "Okay, I'm not going to give you data, I'm already in depression and you are asking certain questions to me." It can be happen, So someone may refuse to give you data at the same time. So the purpose is to select the sample. So selection of the sample is very important. So you defined your population, you define selection of sample. Again, the sampling technique comes into the picture. How you are selecting the sample is not random, not on your own. There is a specific procedures of selection: random sampling, non-random sampling, probability sampling, non-probability sampling. Within the probability sampling, there are different types that you have already studied in the MPC 5. So you have to refer those things, and you have to use the sampling technique according to the demand of your study. So maximum I have seen that the students writes, I have opted random sampling. Random sampling does not means you go and select the sample randomly. Random sampling means you have excess of all units. You have used some lottery method, maybe stratified random sampling. Maybe you have taken certain steps for selection of your sample. It does not means the purposive or accidental sampling is non-probability sampling. You are aware about all these things. If you are not aware, just go through the hand study material and read out. Here you have to work upon this. Then we have a research design. The design is something which is the blueprint of your research. So research design is something through which you define, like whenever you try to make your own house, your own building, what you do, you visit to the architectures. They give you a blueprint where you have to come, and before making the blueprint they ask certain questions, like how many rooms are required, how many washrooms are required, how many lands you have, how much plots you have. So accordingly they design according to the demand of your requirement. Similarly, the design that you are going to opt in your research as per the demand of the topic, not demand of for your demand of the objective, demand of the hypothesis that you have created. So accordingly you have to make your own. So when you decide your problem, then you have to write about the hypothesis. Hypothesis is something but tentative statement that you give. And how do you give this tentative statement about your variable? Based on the literature review, not based on your own insight. Maybe your insight is different from the previous researchers findings, but you have to stick with the previous research, not with your own insight. So first you write problem or objective, then hypothesis, then operational definition, then sample, as I have discussed just before, then research design. So the research design depend upon what kind of objective you have taken. If the study is correlational, then the correlational research design would be there. If the study is like this, like impact of one on another, IB on DB, then the experimental research design would be there. So research design is all about the blueprint that you have to give. When you say experimental research design, then you can write about the impact of one variable on another. Causal relationship you can establish. If you do not have the causal relationship opportunity, then you can go with the correlational research design. Similarly, descriptive research design. So variety of research design you have, accordingly you can write about the research design. Now the things comes in the picture, which is the tools and description of skills. So whatever the tools you have use or you are going to use, you have to describe in detail. How do you decide your tools? Depends upon three things: the norms, reliability, and validity. Why reliability and validity is important? If the suppose you have to weight of your mass, so with the help of some weighing machine, if the weighing machine is not appropriate, then you will be in a false belief. Maybe you are very thin and your weight is giving very high because the instrument is not perfect. Then it would not make sense for you, and it would be misleading for you. So the instrument should be specific, and how it is reliable, how it is valid, what validity, the consistency of result is there or not. You can go and see any tools. There would be some reliability score. There should be there will be some validity, or especially norms in the sense for what population it is applicable. If it is applicable for adolescents and you are using for adult, you are using for elderly, then your tools is not useful. You are using wrong tools in your study. So reliability, validity, and norms, these things should be taken into consideration when you select the tools. At the same time, these things you have to mention in the tools descriptions. So don't write various things about that, how we calculate the data and everything. 4 and 5 things are important. First, write about the tools, who has given the tools, author name, year of the tools, then how many items of is there, nature of item, which is dichotomous in nature, Likert scale in nature. This nature of item you can give. And the third thing, fifth thing you can give, like their reliability, validity, and norms. Norms is also not important, but the reliability and validity you must mention. So what are the things, again I am repeating, what are the things you have to mention in the tools? First, author name. The second, year of the publication of the tools. Then third is the how many items is there. Fourth is the nature of items. And fifth is the reliability, validity of the questionnaire or tools. These things you have to mention separately for each tool. So whatever the tools you have used or you are proposed to use, and accordingly you can write. In the data analysis part, definitely you have not selected the data, you have not collected the data, you are just proposing. So in the proposal, maximum thing we write in the future tense. The writing would be in future because you have not conducted yet. So your statement would be in future, not in past. When you complete your research, then your method part, your result part, you write in past tense. But in proposal, everything we write in future tense, except two things. One is literature review, another one is the introduction. Rest of the things we write in the future tense, right? So in the data analysis, whatever the data analysis would be done, you will analyzing according to the demand of the hypothesis. We do not analyze data for the sake of doing analysis. We analyze the data as per the demand of the hypothesis. So if you have formed the hypothesis to compare the two groups, then the tools would be used, or the statistical analysis would be used only a specific, like maybe if the parametric statistics, they are the t-test. If you are using correlation, then it's Spearman or Carl Pearson test according to the demand. So to be a specific, whatever the tools or data analysis technique you are going to use, it's not the people use, it's because the demand of the hypothesis is this. You must have to use the particular specified test that you have to mention uh, in the data analysis part. Then definitely the result and discussion part, that definitely you do not have the result and discussion right now, so you must have to uh, uh, write in a one sentence that the result and discussion would be appear as per the analysis would come, or later on, or conclusion. Definitely there is no as such. So implication, delimitation, limitation, suggestions, these are the things basically comes in the dissertation part, right? In the synopsis, basically we end up with the data analysis technique. We go with directly with the if you directly with the reference part. In the reference, we write each and everything. Reference, why it is important? Reference is something that gives a picture that how many literature you have been cited. Then whatever the literature you have been cited, it should be reflected in a particular pattern, and it comes with the style that again we have to follow the APA 7th edition style. There's a format that we follow. How do we cite, how do we write a reference? That you can take help. A variety of tools are there, or if you want to make it manually, go or see any textbook that you have, like कोई भी रेफरेंस का बुक ले लीजिए, उसके पीछे आप देख लीजिए. Every book follow the APA guidelines, and accordingly you can write on your own. That makes more sense for you. This is tedious, but you should know each and everything. What are the things we write, and what are the things we like in italic? Some where we mention the year, where we mention the volume, where we mention the page number. Everything should be there. With this, we complete the synopsis proposal and we submit it for the further evaluation. So in the synopsis, you have to keep in mind whatever you have proposed, if it has been selected, if it has been approved, you have to follow line by line. You can't deviate yourself from the proposed synopsis. Maybe some of the such situations would be different in some consequences, or some situations would maybe specific or maybe exempted, but many or maximum of the time you have to stick with your synopsis. If you have, if after the approval or any suggestions comes in your synopsis, you have to execute those suggestions in your further studied. If it has been rejected, then according to the suggestion you have to reform your synopsis, resubmit your synopsis, or take approval again. Once it approved, you can carry out research. In order to collect your data, try to be a specific. Let me once again tell you that whenever you go for the selection of sample, number of sample also should be mentioned over there. And here there is a trick. Means most of the time what learners they do like they mention 300 sample I'm going to collect. This study will collect 300 sample. You know that within a very stipulated time frame, you would not be in position to collect 300 sample at a time. You definitely will fabricate your data. This indicates that you are not genuine in nature. So try to be a specific. Why you are 300? There's no requirement of 300. As I told you in the beginning, the research is all about the process that you have to learn. The purpose is to learn the research process, not to do something which is very novel, very large. You have to, for most of the statistical technique, there are limitation, there minimum number which is required, which is 30. So you take 30 sample for each group. Whatever the group you have taken, take only 30 sample. That is more than enough. Not take hundreds, 2000, 100, 200, 300. It gives you a kind of things where you can manipulate your data. So be a specific. Minimum is required is 30. So keep it 30, and then later on, if you have opportunity, go to the 50. Not more is required. Some of the occasions it requires because of the descriptive in nature, but try to be specific, try to be genuine. So examiner is not going to judge on the basis of your number of samples you have taken in your study, because more number would create more confusion whether you have collected your data genuinely or not. So if you have taken 30 or 50 sample, you can physically visit the interact with your sample, and during the interactions you have to experience various things, how you conduct assessment, how you establish rapport before you're taking the interview or maybe collection of data. These things will also give you opportunity to learn various things in research, which is not possible by giving Google form and all maximum time, because the number you have taken very high. So you think अब तो ये होगा नहीं, तो चलो Google form से भर देते हैं, किसी से भरवा देते हैं. Nobody knows how they fill the forms, and the data would come. So genuinity is very important, and it can only be possible if you have fixed the target, make the objective very practical rather impractical. So practical is like 30. We meet 30 people randomly anytime. So 30 is not a big deal. Means if you have a 2 month of time, 30 is very less. So if you decided one sample in a day, you can collect in 1 month easily. So there's no a big things like. So try, if you have two group, like 30 in each group, because and it can be little as well, but the statistical analysis required a minimum number of data. So we keep 30 as a minimum number, and maximum is not very suggestible. So these things you have to keep in mind, and by keeping these things you have to prepare your synopsis. Try to be contact with your supervisor guide without having approval of your guide, because ultimately it will the matter of the collaborative work. And the thing is that don't be copy paste your content from the resources, because the plagiarism is one of the biggest offenses in academic area. It can damage your career, it can be damage your understanding as well. If you are copying pasting your things, the copy and pasting the things only happens when the people start working in a very limited time. You have enough time, just you have taken admission, you have 6 months of time maximum, so you can carry out research very effectively. So number of data would be also less. So the thing is that don't copy, don't make any plagiarized material. If you are taking any samples, try to be a attribute. There's some ethical consideration that you should keep in mind whenever you interact with the population, like children, special children. Some ethical consideration would be there. and that should be keeping in mind before you, when you go for the data collection, take approval, or maybe if authority letter is required, then you can take it from the supervisor as well. Supervisor can be your academic council, and anything that I have already discussed. So with this you can precisely your research. I am just ending my discussion with two or three things, like the research is nothing but it's a process that you have to learn. Just keep these things in your mind, like I have to learn how to conduct research. With this mindset, if you are going through your research process, you will be able to learn a lot, and these things will be beneficial for your future career. Second thing, try to be genuine, try to be ethical, try to be very practical. That gives you a very good result, rather to be very non-ethical or non genuine. So genuinity should be there. Second thing. And third thing is, try to be fixed in the time frame. Whatever the time frame has given to you, try to compile your work, try to complete your work without any, without excuse, without any recommendation. Just try to finish before the deadline. That would makes your journey very smooth, and you will learn a lot in your research, and you will be in position, you will encourage yourself to conduct future research in the future career, and definitely you will be one individuals who contribute great in the field of psychology in near future. This is my hope from my sides, and I would definitely give you best luck for your research journey, and I hope that you will definitely enjoy this journey. If you go through the research process effectively, you will definitely enjoy. At the same time, you will contribute. At the same time, you will develop a scientific temperament, which are the necessity for the future. Now with this I end my discussion, and I would like to see hear from yours. If you have any doubt, I will definitely try to answer. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was very beautifully presented, and in very sufficient details you have elaborated the research process, how they are going to prepare their synopsis, what important points they have to take care of in their minds while writing their synopsis. And sir, from your this presentation, I got one major important thing, and it is I think I can say it that it is actually the disciplined approach. If our students start their research project, this research process in a disciplined manner, they can write their synopsis in a correct manner. Second thing, they have sufficient time. You have very rightly said it, sir. They have sufficient time. If they start working right now, by the next year, June 2025, they will be very comfortably in a position to complete their this project course as well. So being in discipline and working in discipline is the most important aspect of this project work. And sir, one more important thing you have highlighted is that end product or end result is not that much important in comparison to learning the research process. Learning the process is very much important, and we are lucky that in first year the students have gone through their 005 and 006 courses, research methodology as well as statistics. So they have a fair idea of these terminologies like variables, hypothesis, design, and all other important terms they are already aware of. So I am hopeful that under your kind guidance, and as you have just guided us, our students will be very comfortable now in writing their synopsis. So thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your kind guidance. And now I am requesting our learners, if they have any queries, please ask one by one. Yes, please.
Hello, Doctor. Hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
you
Hello,
are
Dr.
audible.
Ashwini.
Yes, yes, hello.
Hi, Tanusha this side. Good morning.
Yes, please,
So सर
please switch
मेरे
on
को
your
सबसे बड़ा
camera.
प्रॉब्लम
Please, dear students, before asking your question, please switch on your camera also so that we may be able to see you as well. Please switch on your camera and mic.
hi sir. So my basic question is, uh, if I am selecting some topic, how to get the questionnaire, and how I can understand which questionnaire I need to go through so that I can collect my data. So will it be decided by me, or I have to take already pre-approved questionnaires? How it, how it is possible?
Both things are possible. If you have taken certain you have taken topic which are already been studied, or like suppose mental health and emotional disorder, there are good number of questionnaires are available. If you have selected the topic or variable which are not very common in nature, you can select you can download, or you can make accessibility of this questionnaire from anywhere according to your accessibility or feasibility. So that there are two things. One, if you have opportunity to get access of the questionnaires which are not freely accessible, then you can take it from your own. If you do not have those opportunity, try to fix with those variable which has accessibility, which can be easily observed. We can take you can easily get access of those questionnaire. Then you can form your research. So there are two way. Especially you have to be genuine. Try to be specified with your variable which has accessibility. If it has not accessibility, there's no accessibility of the questionnaire, there's no accessibility of the particular tools, then you can't go for the. If you are able to purchase those questionnaire, then that is another thing. If you do not have those things, then go for the OER only, open educational resources questionnaires only.
Okay, so can you suggest me any website for that OER?
Yeah, I will send a particular email to Ashok sir, and he will forward it to all the learners.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I will share it
Sure,
with
sir.
all the
Sure.
students.
Okay,
Also,
fine.
my synopsis need to be validated by any academic counselor before submitting. Is it?
No, just go through the handbook. You will see there is a flow chart in which you have to select the topic. Then you have to decide the guide. Guide is very important. So academic counselor can be your guide, one of the guide. If your guide is any other person, not academic counselor, then the approval of guide is important, not the academic counselor is important. It The academic counselor can be your guide as well. Or so there's no. So the approval of guide is important. You can go through the annexure and you will see that what are the things are required, right, to the submission of synopsis.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Dear students, the name in itself is self-explanatory. Guide means a teacher who will guide you how to do your this research work. So you need to work under the supervision and guidance of a guide. So you please go through your handbook, and in different formats you will also find it that you have to fill in the particulars of your proposed supervisor, and you need to get the signatures of your supervisor also in the performa. Sir, next I'm inviting Ms. Namrata. Yes, please, sir. Please.
There are certain questions that somebody has asked. I have just missed out. I would like to mention someone can also go for the qualitative study. In the qualitative study, you have opportunity to go with the case study. Definitely, you can take case study, but this case study required in-depth study of the particular things. It also a good effort. If you are interested in qualitative study, the qualitative study is something which where we induce something. So inductive approach is there, and there are deductive approach. So in inductive approach, your effort would be more. And when you go for the content analysis, you should have access of those content. Use the qualitative methodology, use the qualitative technique that we use, and accordingly you can pursue. You can definitely do qualitative study that you have studied in your method part. all the design you can use, but the structure would be remain same. Definitely, then data analysis would be different. The analysis of the frequency would be different. The nature would be different of writing, but definitely you can do it. Another one important thing that I would like to mention, that when we go for the statistical analysis, most of the students mention like I'm using SPSS. You know, the SPSS software is paid software. In SPSS paid software, you do not have accessibility, and you are mentioning that I'm using SPSS in your synopsis. It means you are somehow using pirated things. Why you are using SPSS? There's no need to go for this. If you have access, then there's no issue. Your supervisor has access, there's no issue as such. But if you do not have access, don't mention it. You have another software which is freely accessible and very user friendly, which is called Jamovi, Jamovi. It is R-based software, and you will see a good number of tutorial. If I would get opportunity, definitely I will discuss these things with you, that how we analyze the data with the help of Jamovi software, which is freely accessible, more competent, more effective, more user friendly, and at the same time free, means you can use ethically anywhere, at any stage, even the PhD level and anywhere. So Jamovi, Jamovi. Just write down this name and use this software. You can download it, you can install it, and everything. Yeah, Jamovi. Just do it, and you can get a good number of tutorial on YouTube. If you have any confusion, just write to me or inform to the sir, and I will happy to share my ideas on Jamovi as well. So don't be always stick with the SPSS. Definitely SPSS has their advantage, but at the same time it has paid software, and if you don't have those, and paid means does not means the matter of 1,000 rupees, it's a lakh rupees of the subscriptions that you can't afford this moment of time. So why you are mentioning about this? Go with Jamovi, mention about the Jamovi, and use it freely and very effectively. Once you be familiarized with the Jamovi, you will forget about the SPSS. I'm pretty sure about it. Jamovi is based on the R. R is also very good software, which is based on the Python language, but they have come up with the optional language software, where as similar as the SPSS, whatever the options we select, we also select in Jamovi. There's a dedicated column, dedicated tab, t-test, s-test, and all the parametric, non-parametric tests. Just click on one button, you can get the result. And one interesting thing with the Jamovi, they form the table as per the APA guideline. So whatever the table formulation output comes, you can directly copy paste it in your workout. So there's no need to afford to make a table. They give APA guideline table, which is also very effective for you. So you can explore it on YouTube and anywhere. The tutorial is good in number available on the website. So these things.
Thank you so much, sir. It is a very wonderful piece of information, and all of our students will be benefited by your this information about Jamovi software.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I am inviting Miss Namrata for her query, please. Yes, Miss Namrata.
Thank you so much, Ashok sir. Good morning to you and good morning, Ashwini sir. Sir, basically, I am a bit curious about my duration of appearing in the project. So, I am a January 2020 batch student, and I'm a bit late in appearing in all of these. So, due to some personal issues, so I just needed to understand that by what date will I be able to appear for all the projects and internships? Will that be okay if I'm applicable, or if I am eligible for the December one?
Ashok sir, you maybe answer this question.
Yes. You please send me an email at RC Delhi 3 giving your enrollment number.
RC Delhi?
RC Delhi 3 @ igno.ac.in. You are a student of RC Delhi 3?
No, sir. I am a student. Like RC Delhi 3, in the sense I didn't get you. Like the regional center
You
you're
belong
speaking?
to you belong to which regional center?
Ranchi.
Ranchi.
Mhm.
Okay, no issue, no issue. You send me an email, RC Delhi 3. Then I will, after going through your admission details, then I will let you know about your this query.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Ashok sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Next, I'm inviting Miss Bharti, please. Please switch on your camera before asking your question. Miss Bharti, please. Please hurry up. We are running short of time if you are there. Okay, next I'm inviting Miss Jagriti, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I have a question. वो सर हमने सिनॉप्सिस तैयार कर लिया, हम रीजनल सेंटर पर आ गए, अब हमें अप्रूवल लेना है। सर हम गाइड कब किसी को हम कैसे अप्रोच करें गाइड बनने के लिए? फॉर एग्जांपल सर आप हमारे काउंसलर हैं, एकेडमिक काउंसलर हैं, अगर मैं चाहती हूँ कि आप गाइड बने तो वो कब मुझे अप्लाई करना है उसके लिए?
अशोक सर बताइए।
Ashwini sir, I request you to please reply this query.
Yeah, definitely. This is the basically when you select your topic, you have decided your idea, but it has not been shaped yet. Means ये अभी पूरी तरह से तैयार नहीं हुआ, आपके पास idea है. So when you have an idea, then you can go and contact with the academic supervisor. Or supervisor in the sense there are three groups of the supervisor. You can elect any one of them. One is from the study center or the LSC from where you are associated. You can take the academic counselor as a guide. They are eligible, they can be your guide. If they are denying, if they have sort of time, they have not a vacant seat, then you can approach to those who have impaneled in the MPCE project guide. So you can directly call them, you can directly visit or interact with them. If they're still not giving you a good response or they are not interacting with you, then the third is the group of academicians that can be also a part of your guide, and they can be those who have PhD degree in the psychology and they have at least 2 years of teaching experience. So in the field of psychology, those who have 2 years of teaching experience and they have a PhD, definitely in the field of psychology, they would be your guide. If they are okay with your ideas, they are agree to guide you, to give you consent, then you submit your proposal of the approval of guide to the headquarter or to the Swati Patra is the program coordinator of this. You will see her name in the project guide, their email address, as well as every information in the project guide. You have to write an email to them and you can get approval of the person at the same time. If you don't have that much of time to get approval of this guide, because of the short of time, you can just submit at the time of synopsis. There's an extra particular dedicated annexure for the new guide that you are adding, or as per your interactions you have to fill up the form, and at the same time you have to attach the qualification of the guide that you are contacting with them, their self-attested degree like a PhD degree or their teaching experience must be attached over there, and you can send it with the consent format is also there annexure with the synopsis, and the synopsis evaluator would also approve or reject your guide at the same time of evaluating of your synopsis. That can do simultaneously as well. Either you can take prior approval or you can go with the simultaneously at the time of submission of your synopsis as well. It would be appreciated if you take prior approval, then there would be no confusion at the later on stage. Most of the time we do not reject the guide if the guide is fulfilling the qualification. What happens most of the time, if they are fulfilling the qualification but they have not attached the qualified documents like their degree or their experience, teaching experience, with their self-attested document is required. If these things, minimum things, are attached with the synopsis, there would be no issue at all. So what happens, you do not go with the minimum qualification, you will select any guide which are not eligible for to guide you. Then there would be, like, you have taken one guide from the management department, one from political science department, from other, means those who have PhD in different discipline, they would not be approved. So the better is to go with the qualification. These qualifications are essential. If they are fulfilling, you can take guide anywhere from India, those who are in academics. The thing is that you must keep in mind that whatever the guide you are selecting, you can have a good interactions with them. If you are living in Delhi, you have selected guide from Bangalore, then there would be a confusion how you can interact with them. So try to be practical. Select the guide from your locality so that you can interact, you can visit, you can learn from the guide, and the guide can give you insight, as well as they can give you a signature and all the documents which are necessary, and the further whenever the submission of project is required. So by this, following these things, you can elect your guide as well. Hope
Sir, I would also like to.
If you have any other questions, you may ask.
Sir, I would also like to add here
Mhm.
that as soon as the learners decide the area within their specialization in which they would like to do their project, immediately with few ideas, they must write down their draft ideas, what types of problems they would be like to be searching in the future in their project course. As soon as they have developed a few ideas, or if they have identified few research gaps while doing their review of the literature, immediately with those 3 or 4 ideas, they should contact immediately their proposed supervisor or proposed guide, because the guide also has to go through your ideas, whether the guide will be interested in working on your ideas, whether he or she will be feeling comfortable in your chosen topics or your chosen areas of research. So, in the initial stages itself, you need to approach and contact your proposed supervisor. It will be a little bit difficult for perhaps both of you, that if you are approaching your proposed supervisor after doing 2 months of research, preparing your synopsis, after doing a lot of review literature, and then you are approaching the person who was in your mind to be your supervisor, your research guide. And after 2 months of your all this hard work, when you approach him or her, then the approached supervisor, the proposed guide, may also say you that I have never done any type of work in this area, and I am not feeling comfortable in this area. So you better please contact any other supervisor. So if you are having any particular person in your mind, you please contact him or her immediately with your 2 ideas, 3 ideas, 4 ideas. So contacting them in the initial stages is highly preferred. So I hope that Ms. Jagriti has got her answer. Am I
Yes,
right,
sir.
sir?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Ashwini, am I right, sir?
Yeah, you're perfectly right, and you have suggested well. I think all the learners should keep in mind whatever you have mentioned, just because these are the essential things in order to carry your research within given stipulated time frame. Otherwise, definitely it would damage your quality of work as well as your degree whenever you want to complete your work or program. Uh, and it will delay your overall things. So try to be keeping on track. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And sir, you have very rightly stated that the learners have to be in continuous touch with their proposed supervisor or their guide during this whole research process. They will be needing guidance from their teachers, their supervisors at each and every step. So you must, all the learners are requested that you must get your guide within your own city itself, if possible, so that if you need to contact him or her again and again, so you both must be feeling comfortable. So please take care of all these points which Dr. Ashwini sir has shared with you. And if there are no more questions, So then we will be winding up the session. If there are any other questions, please let us know. We will reply.
सर
Any other
सिनॉप्सिस
question?
की फाइल प्रिंटेड हो सकती है या हैंडमेड ही बनानी है?
Synopsis?
यस सर.
Yes, synopsis should be submitted in typed form.
ओके सर, थैंक यू.
Yes. I think, sir, there are no more questions from the side of our students. Sir, last concluding remarks, please.
Yeah, definitely. I think I should appreciate all the learners who have joined today. It reflects their interest in the field of research, their temperament, their love, what we say, genuinity towards the knowing the things, how they can do their work effectively. These all the attributes you should keep in your mind, or you should keep in your life in order to get more achievement in your life. I must congratulate RC3 to conduct such kind of program. Always I am very grateful for this kind of program, and you are one of them that you come up with the ideas and always encourage the learner to interact with the faculty and come up with the ideas which can help them to pursue the program effectively. I'm very thankful to you as well, sir, for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very thankful to all the learners who have joined today for this session. And I hope you have been encountered with various things, and you must have get answered whatever the things coming in your mind at the same time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Rather, we are thankful to you that despite being on vacation, you spared your valuable time for us. So it is our duty, sir. So we are so grateful to you. We are thankful to you. And on behalf of all my learners also, I thank you, sir, for your kind guidance. And I am certainly hopeful, I am confident now that our students will be very successfully completing their project course as well. And sir, if in future also, if we will be in need of your valuable time, we will request you once again.
I'm
And
always available.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And we are confident about this thing that you are always very sportive, very cooperative. And even today also, at a very short notice, I requested you yesterday only, and you gave us time for today morning. So I am so thankful to you, sir. On behalf of my students also, and on my own behalf, I thank you personally. It is your help, it is your support, your kind guidance that now my learners who are not only from RC Delhi 3, I just came to know that students from Ranchi and other parts of
That's
India
great.
are also attending our this session. And sir, one more important information I would like to share with you all, that I think that by tomorrow, by either by today evening or by tomorrow morning, we will be uploading the recording of this session on our RC YouTube channel.
Okay, great.
And I will share the link with all our learners so that all the students throughout our country, they will be able to be get guidance through this YouTube video also. You have covered lots so many important points which are definitely going to help them in their this academic journey and in their research process. So I will be sharing the YouTube link with everyone, sir. And
I'm also waiting for the link as well. So this is
sure, sir.
very good initiative, very good initiative. Because of the limitation of time, maybe some learner might not be joined today. They would
Yes,
be
sir.
also get benefited whenever they go through the videos, and
Yes, sir.
definitely it would be a great
Sir,
initiative.
yes, sir. Sir, actually, few students could not join because it is working day for them. Our those
Yes.
our those learners who are employed and who are working somewhere, they could not join because of their work responsibilities. So the YouTube recording will be highly beneficial for them. It will help them. So I will be sharing the YouTube link with all the learners and with you also, sir. And it was your show, sir. It was your day today, and and you have helped us a lot. And now we all are feeling confident that our students will be very easily and very comfortably preparing their synopsis and doing their project work. So thank you so much, sir. My heartfelt gratitude. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And I thank all our dear learners also who have joined us today in this session, not only from Delhi, but also from other parts of India. And I also thank
Thanks a lot, sir.
our, thank you so much. And I also thank our other regional center colleagues. I saw in between some other academic colleagues from other regional centers also joined us in this session. So I thank you one and all. And we are always at the disposal of all our learners. And we believe in providing best student support services. And IGNOU is your university, and we all are one family. So you please don't worry about anything. We will be guiding you at each and every step. We are always here to help you, to support you, to guide you. And we are hopeful that now you will be very successfully and comfortably completing your studies and your this project work as well. So thank you so much, sir. Now, with your kind permission, I would like to close this session.
Yes, sure.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. God bless all our learners. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.